The bomb that's about to explode in Washington. A surprisingly available free agent could revolutionize the Commanders' defense. Why hasn't anyone signed him yet? An insider reveals exclusive details about an elite cornerback with a medical issue that could be the missing piece. Meanwhile, a crazy scenario in the draft could create a three-headed monster for Daniels if a top prospect inexplicably falls to the 29th pick and the $68 million star who deserves a new contract right now. What are they waiting for in the front office? News that will change the course of the franchise in the coming days. If you're a true Commanders fan, don't dare miss a second of these revelations. What we're seeing in Washington is nothing less than a revolution in the defensive secondary. Adam Peters has been busy reshaping the roster and setting new standards, but there are still holes to fill before the start of the 2025 season. With $22.57 million available in cap space, the Commanders are in a perfect position to make a splash in the market. And you know what position needs immediate reinforcements? Quarterback. Yes, we already have Lattimore and Sane Ristel as proven starters. Igbenogany performed well in the slot and got a new one-year contract, and we also acquired Jonathan Jones. But let me tell you this, that lineup, though promising, is one injury away from becoming a serious problem. And now an analyst has pointed to the Commanders as the ideal destination for the best cornerback left on the market. We're talking about Asante Samuel Jr., folks. Why is a talent of his caliber still available? I believe injury concerns have scared off several teams. According to reports, Samuel has been dealing with persistent stinger injuries, a condition he was born with. He appeared in only 4 games last season due to this condition. Now I ask you, is it worth taking a risk on a player of this caliber? Absolutely. And there's a key factor that few are considering. Tommy Donatello, our defensive backs coach, was Samuel's coach in Los Angeles during his first 3 seasons. That connection could be crucial. Everything must be verified from a medical standpoint, of course. His stinger complications are an ongoing concern, but he has learned to live with them and forge a productive career. Samuel's competitive fire and willingness to face the biggest challenges are qualities that Quinn always looks for. Peters faces a waiting game from the 29th overall pick in the draft. You will have a plan for all eventualities and several worthy candidates on his list. But the more holes filled in advance, the more freedom he'll have to select the best player available or negotiate some trades for additional capital. Samuel is a fantastic player at the peak of his abilities. His time on the field ended abruptly after 4 games last season, but his production during his first 3 years leaves reasons for optimism. The fact that the Florida State product is still on the market at this stage of free agency could work in Washington's favor. Samuel might be more willing to accept an incentive-laden contract to join a contender. A 1-year prove-it deal with the promise of more to come. I think he would perfectly complete the Commanders' cornerback room. Now, let's move on to something that could completely change the offensive landscape of our team. The Commanders have done a good job surrounding Jaden Daniels with quality pieces this offseason. Terry McLaurin needed a partner, and the franchise signed Deebo Samuel. Left tackle was also a big need, and they brought in Laramie Tunsil, a 5-time Pro Bowler. So those are 2 big names coming in to help boost the Commanders' offense that was one of the best in football last season. But what if the franchise didn't stop there? In the latest CBS Sports mock draft, by some miracle, wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan is available at number 29, and the Commanders seized the opportunity to draft the Arizona star. Let me tell you this, the odds of McMillan lasting until the 29th pick are practically impossible. Really crazy, but you never know how the draft will fall. For the sake of debate, if it happens, the Commanders would be getting one of the best receivers in the draft. Yes, Deebo is a great acquisition, but he's a 1-year rental. Getting McMillan, who is a matchup nightmare and an excellent athlete, after the catch, will create a 3-headed monster for Daniels in his 2nd year. Now I ask you, can you imagine this attack with McLaurin, Samuel, and potentially McMillan? A player with smooth moves and elite hands, who can gain ground quickly to be the big-body receiver the Commanders need. And with McLaurin and Samuel also on the field, it's truly pick your poison for NFL defenses. It would almost seem unfair. If McMillan fell to Washington, and if he does, the Commanders' passing game would rise several levels in 2025. We'd be talking about possibly the best receiver unit in the entire league. The kind of group that keeps defensive coordinators up at night. And speaking of receivers, we have to address an issue that can't wait any longer. Terry McLaurin remains a key contributor to our offense, as evidenced by the success he had with Jaden Daniels during the 2024 season. That's why Bleacher Report writer Alex Ballentine believes McLaurin deserves an extension this offseason. And you know what? I completely agree. Of all the players who deserve a pay raise for what they've done in Washington, Terry McLaurin is the most deserving, Ballentine writes. The receiver has been forced to play with some bad quarterbacks in, some questionable offenses, and he's been a consistent producer regardless of the circumstances. It's no surprise he notched his 5th consecutive 1,000-yard season with Jaden Daniels throwing him the ball. McLaurin was instrumental in Daniels' successful rookie season. Even though he's turning 30 this season, it would be a good idea to lock up McLaurin. Let me tell you this without hesitation. McLaurin has been the soul of this offense for years. He has suffered through mediocre quarterbacks, system after system, and still produced at an elite level. 5 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons is no fluke. It's consistency. It's excellence. It's the kind of player you build a franchise around. Now I ask you, doesn't McLaurin deserve to be rewarded for his loyalty and production? This man has been professional at all times, never causing problems in the locker room despite the circumstances. And now that we finally have a promising quarterback in Daniels, are we going to risk losing him or demotivating him? McLaurin could look to close a new deal before training camp, which takes place from late July to late August. And if I were Adam Peters, I wouldn't wait that long. This is the kind of player you define as the standard of your culture. Pay the man what he deserves. Commanders Nation. These 3 news items could define the immediate future of our franchise. Should management take a risk with Samuel Jr. despite his injury issues? Does it make sense to bet on a receiver in the first round when we have other needs? How much longer can we afford to wait before securing McLaurin long term? I want to hear your opinions. Leave your comments below and tell me what you think about these potential moves. Which one do you think will be most impactful for our chances in 2025? This is the most exciting time to be a Commanders fan in years. We're building something special here, and I want you to be part of this community, of this family that lives and breathes Washington football. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do it now so you don't miss any exclusive analysis and the latest team news. And remember, hail to the Redskins!